we'll go ahead and, it's 6 o'clock, so we will open the budget hearing regarding budget estimates for the oncoming year. Do you have any questions regarding anything presented thus far?
I got lots of them. Just wanted to say, first of all, that I'd like to say that I appreciate getting to see much more detail on what all is to be funded from the various line items in each department's budget. This is the first time I've had the privilege of looking over these numbers with that level of detail that I recall. I'm sorry to say that since I did not see last year's numbers, I don't have much to compare to. I did notice that there is $222,000 budgeted in the general fund for 2026 for the ABM solar lease payments. I know these were a concern for some of the public, as they are for me, and yet when I compare the overall general fund budget, the increase is much lower than that. So last year we budgeted $3,118,871 for the 2025 general fund, and this year we're budgeting $3,175,321. So the overall increase from last year's general fund to this year's is only $56,450, despite the fact that we have that $220,000 in there. So I thought that was pretty impressive. So my first question is, I know I recommended that city government do everything they could to reduce costs as much as possible wherever possible, given the changes in the Indiana tax laws and everything. Can you describe for us the process that was undertaken or the general approach used in order to reduce costs?
We met with all the department heads.
Okay.
And basically we trimmed everywhere we could, and we've got a couple of services, unfortunately, that we will be trimming from the pack as well, because here's an example. We don't have areas around us necessarily that go around and do brush pickup. We're a unique community in that regard. It's a service that we've offered, and it's a great service. However, we also still provide an outlet for people to take brush for free. And so follow along with the fact that our street department crew is aging, and we have a couple that are near retirement. So as we look to not backfill, as opposed to laying off individuals, we look to not backfill positions, but if we're going to not backfill positions, we have to be leaner in what services we provide. And so one of the things that we will be doing forthcoming is not providing brush pickup outside of a horrendous event. And we're use common sense, obviously. If we would have a ice storm again or something of that nature, then there's exceptions, and we're all called to action. But that's one example. And we've also looked at, and I haven't heard the summary of the Board of Works meeting this afternoon, but I know one thing that was discussed, I think, was the dumpster fees. Because we incur a lot of costs for dumpsters because we allow people to take stuff to the dumpster and dump, but unfortunately we have some folks that go well beyond taking advantage of that benefit or that feature that we provide to the community. So with that being said, I don't know, did you guys come to any?
Yeah, we've had a vote to make a recommendation to the council. I don't have it in writing, so make sure I get this correct, to discontinue the access to the dumpsters on a regular basis, because we just can't come up with a way to effectively monitor that and collect fees for it and do it correctly, since we can't do it at that location. And then with up to 3 cleanup days with dumpsters a year.
Cool.
What do you propose?
Memorial Day, Labor Day, and the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Interesting. Okay. Very good. Well, thank you. Those are just a couple examples.
And that was our recommendation to the council, basically. So we'll have that.
Good, thanks so much.
Good. And
Moving on, I see that the clerk treasurer's salary is budgeted 17,167. But who, which I think is low, but anyway, but who is the budget payroll administrator budgeted at 100,518?
So the clerk's salary is and has been divided out between departments, so I mean, the water department and the sewage department, I believe, yeah, you caught me off guard on that one.
Right.
Quite honestly, I don't know if that's, I will have to check on that.
Yes, please.
I don't have the breakdown how that's divided out.
Okay,
And
I
I
have
believe-
another couple like this. I should have emailed you to give you a heads up to find the answers. I saw that the mayor's salary is only budgeted at 8,250. So I mean, I wouldn't want to take a mayor's position for that for that low.
there's other funds that go in, there's other line items that go into that, so it's actually, it remains 30,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's, I think derived from water and sewer.
Correct,
now,
correct. So there's other
Water and
budgets.
what?
Water and sewer.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
other budgets that pay into that, so it's staying at 30.
Okay. And the same question for city manager, only at 42,400. Same thing.
Same
That's the
thing,
same thing.
yeah, different budgets to pull from.
That's actually.
Can we pull that information together? Or is that- we can do that.
Well, it shows in our ordinance, our salary
The
ordinance.
salary,
shows
the
that.
salary ordinance shows. it.
Yeah, the budget comprises that
Right.
figure that is demonstrated in the salary ordinance.
Oh, okay.
So when you get to the salary.
So there's not
ordinance, then
really a
you'll see that
change.
total amount.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not really a
Those
change.
are all
Correct.
There's
Okay.
no change, no.
Also, I know that city councilman's salary is $4,000 per year, which we love. There are 5 of us, that makes 20,000. But in the budget, I see 21,220. That's an extra 1,220. I appreciate that, but I don't think I'm getting that. Just saying, not that I want it. I'm just saying, it just seems like an error, or
It could be.
I don't know. Maybe there's a reasonable explanation, but I'd like to know what it is. Also, under city council / town board, common council in parentheses, I see an item called election costs, budgeted at 16,000. What function does city government have related to election costs?
And again, if you had asked me, I could have gotten you all
I'm
these
sorry
answers
about
ahead of
that.
time.
Yeah, it just seems weird, like this.
It does seem weird, but there is
Okay.
an answer. So I
Okay.
mean, yeah, someone that had been around longer could probably pull it off their hat, but I don't.
We could have those prepared for the next.
Okay.
Because this is just the initial public hearing.
Okay, good.
Amy, could that council amount be the employee contribution on Social Security or something? If it's budgeted that way.
It could be, but yeah, I'll have to get you all the breakdowns.
Election of coverage instead of
no.
election of, okay.
No, well,
No.
on the council salary, the council amount where it's the.
Oh, the extra.
You've got the,
Gross amount?
the gross, you've got your gross amount, but you've got the employee's contribution to Social Security, for example, that we don't get, that we pay our half.
In the city.
The employer pays
Okay.
that. Because you've got the employer contribution, so that always factors in on. That's
Okay,
the
and then I'm
only
sorry, I
real-
just have 2 more. I'll just mention them, and then what I'll do is I can put them into an email so that you give you a little time to research that. So under a department called government building, parentheses city / county maybe building, I see wages of 5,150, and I wondered what that was about.
So where are you at on that one? Which,
There's a I can give me a moment. this stuff. Okay, well, I can't seem to find it immediately, but there is a, where are my notes again? I just noticed that there's an expense or a department called government building, where
Do you
there's
have the
wages.
line item code or anything with that?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll do the research too, and then you can do your research. I'm sorry about that. Last one I have under that is under city projects. I see 22,000 for franchise fees. Why are we budgeting for franchise fees?
No, that's, that comes in from Spectrum.
That's
Probably
Charter
correct.
Communications.
Yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
So those actually come in to us and then are turned around and divvied over to the K.I.S.S Communications and Vision Corner.
We
Council approved.
So
Yes,
since
we-
we're on that, on the city projects portion of it, if you look on that page, it's page 7. The city projects and the franchise fees always used to run together. We had taken a chunk of the ABM payments out of city projects last year, so we actually put it in all by itself. So we reduced the city projects dollar amount and, reflecting it in ABM all by itself, if that makes sense. So that way it's a little clear where the monies are going.
Correct.
Okay, so I apologize for not having sent you those questions beforehand. I will do that this evening or tomorrow morning. So for next time. That's all I have for that.
Any other questions? I move I close the public hearing at 6:13. And with that, if everyone would please rise for the pledge and remain standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this amazing, beautiful stretch of weather we're having. We just pray for your blessing upon the farmers and their harvest and that the crops and that the yields are good. We thank you for this evening. We thank you for this opportunity to gather. We thank you for not only every individual in this room and bless their hearts with the needs that I know that are there, but also everyone in this community. And you know their unspoken needs, you know their hurts, you know their dreams. And I pray that you bless them with your presence and your wisdom and your guidance and your comfort, and to remind them that they're loved. There's a lot of discord in this country right now, Father. We just pray for your peace, a peace that absolutely surpasses all understanding. And we can't control everything that goes on in this country from this little community. But one thing we can do is how we treat one another and the love that we have for one another, starting in our very homes, extending to our neighbors, and then out into the streets and everywhere we go in this community. And help us to be a reflection of that and of you. And we give you all the glory and honor and praise. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Amy, if you would, roll call.
Gary Elliott. Here. Bob Whitehead.
Here.
Jason Brewer.
Here.
Tim Heiss.
Here.
Tito Frias.
Here.
All right, first you've got an opportunity to review the consent agenda as presented. Are there any questions or comments?
I did have one question. Tito, the question guy. In the past, I'm not sure how far back in the past, we used to list other visitors from the public in our minutes, and I haven't seen those in the last few of our minutes. Like people from the public, like we used to list them, everybody who was in the room back then. So just wondering if we could move to that again. Good to know who was around.
And that may be part of it, if they don't sign the sheet,
Ah.
we may not have the names.
I thought that wasn't there.
Yeah, because it's under, I think it's under also attending, isn't
Yeah, they're in there.
Yes.
They're in there.
Yeah.
Bob and John and Mark. Those are visitors. minutes from September 22nd.
Dang, I'm sorry. But also they're available on the video, so my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry.
So you're good. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right. I've just got a couple things on my end. Had a question arise recently regarding collaboration and what that looks like in terms of what we've been invoicing the Ohio side. So far for 2024, we invoiced $77,824.52. For 2025 so far, we've invoiced $92,748.52. So just a heads up in there. Those are the copies of each line item. And then the last thing is I had a very special opportunity, I guess if you will, to speak at Ball State a few weeks ago. They had one of the heads of Indiana Economic Development Corporation coming in and spoke to the group there and them and a room full of people at Emmons. And it was cool because after I spoke, had a gentleman come up to me from Anderson. And I'm going to say, I don't normally give description of a person because it's not really pertinent to a conversation except this one. He was the only African American gentleman in the room. And after he spoke to me, I thought, I've got to call out our community. He came up to me and he said he used to work for Google, and which had him in this community. This was probably 8 years ago. He said, he said he works for a school over near Anderson now. And he said, I want you to know, he goes, you never know for sure when you're a man of color going into a small rural community, especially in Indiana, in the sticks. But he goes, you guys treated me with the most compassion and the most hospitality. He goes, I love Union City. He goes, I know exactly where Union City's at. That's what he said. Because a lot of times when I speak to people that are from far off, they don't always know necessarily where Union City's located. But he was so genuinely appreciative of the way he was treated. And that struck me, not only with a bit of pride, I've got to admit, and joy and thanks, but also the fact of all the things he could have done or taken part in or businesses that he could have profited from or whatnot. The thing that stood out to him was how he was treated. I thought that was awesome. And it's just a signal and a sign to all of us that we work so feverishly on how we take care of our properties and trying to encourage and getting this done and that done, getting stops at four-way intersections or getting whatever it is. But sometimes it's the very simple things that make a community different and stand out in a positive way and make it memorable and inviting to others. I love that. So I wanted to share because I want to basically give everybody hats off. I don't know who he spoke to that day. It was people downtown. I guarantee it was probably Shelley King, and actually he said it was 8 years ago. It was after COVID. It was just post-COVID. So it was been 20, 21, 22. So maybe he went over to the ice cream shop too. I don't know who all he spoke to, but he was very, very, very impressed with the community. So I just appreciate everybody, that and the way you treat others. So anyway, that's all I've got. Amy, did you have anything outside of what's already on here? Okay,
No,
gotcha. I
that's
figured as
no.
much. Council member Cito, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that you mentioned that about that gentleman expressing his experience in Union City, and just to touch back on your prayer, which I love. I usually love your prayers. And this one you mentioned that in this time of division, that this community can be an example. In my past life, I used to have peace building in my job title, and so did a lot of study and participated in different things and everything. And one of the things that I was working with a Catholic organization in partnership with the Mennonites.
Wow.
So the Mennonites have the interesting approach that they never have recourse to violence. So they are in the Christian denominations are among the furthest ahead of anybody on approaches to peace building. And one of the things that one of their biggest peace building gurus named John Paul Lederach out of Eastern Mennonite University conceived of he called it reconciliation, peace building, sustainable reconciliation in divided societies. And one of the things he postulated in his studies and things is that you can have small communities like ours, or small environments like a school or a business or whatever. And in this community, we decide that despite the divisions that characterize our society right now, we can decide how to exemplify the way that we want our country to be, with the respect and the love and the you know that kind of thing. So I love that we have that in Union City. Let's keep encouraging that and doing it. So the most important part was first. Okay, so I have another couple things, and the third one is big. But what I had some people, or at least one individual, express a concern and what had a question. They live outside of town, and they have noticed that Union City police officers like to sort of hang out outside of town and catch people on traffic violations outside of town. And so the question was, one, is it okay for them to be out there? It's Union City proper residents and our budget that's, paying for Union City. Why would they be outside of town? Is that a benefit to the town? Just sort of a general question kind of like that.
Well, I don't know the specifics. I do know I've seen them at Trinity Lutheran before, and that's monitoring people coming into town, because we have had people coming into town at too high a rate of speed. So, I mean, they're protecting our borders in that essence, I guess.
Should they mentioned, if I may, sorry, they mentioned north of town on State Line Road, and they mentioned, what is that, 32, at the corner.
Hayesville corner.
That corner right
Would be
there.
Probably where they're talking about.
I don't know specifics on the, I'll get with Mark, because I don't know the specifics on the parameters in terms of what they are usually governed to cover, but I do know, like State Line you mentioned, if it's north, of course we just put a four-way stop in there, so that's probably to give people a heads up that, hey, you need to be watching what you're doing, because you're going to come up on a four-way stop that wasn't there previously. So a lot of that's for safety, but I'll find out.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
The second question is, I guess, a growing concern that I have heard in the past during my campaign way back when. People did mention these things, and I haven't noticed it recently, but all of a sudden here it is on social media. Someone reporting that the community help center had been broken into a couple weeks ago, and that the police department doesn't want to do anything about it. And that they claim the door was unlocked. And what struck me in this is that in the comments, a lot of people mentioned that they had things stolen or various situations, and that it's as if our police were not responsive enough, I don't want to say didn't care, but I mean, that was the perception of the people commenting on this thread. So I'm wondering if, I wish we had, Mark was here, but can I don't know, maybe can there be some kind of policy to encourage them to, be more?
Well, I hesitate to speak to this because I don't know the specifics. So there's always two sides to every story, and there's always a lot more circumstances involved than what we a lot of times hear on the surface. So I will give a Mark. I know, one thing that doesn't always get reported. So
I know a couple of circumstances that haven't been reported.
gotcha. Yeah, and that's a challenge.
Can I say something?
Well, if it's brief, because
It's got to do with this.
okay.
I live across the street from the Community Health Center. And you would not believe the people that go in and out there in the middle of the night. And I'm not talking about dropping stuff off.
Okay.
There's people on bicycles, baby strollers with kids going there. About 12:45 the other night, this girl and her two little kids went back there and got a load and drug it out. It happens a lot.
I think
and what Tita was talking about, I haven't seen the police there at all. I've called the police before, and that's what they wanted me to do. That guy that used to run it, Randy Miller or something like that, I forget what his name was. Anyway, I said, that ain't my job. I'm not a snitch, but I am spilling my guts tonight because it's pretty bad.
Okay.
Got people running in and out there.
One of the challenges I know we have there is they've got a lot of items that can be dropped off freely
Right.
and are sitting there freely, but they're not supposed to be taken. But that's what people
They
are
got
helping
signs up and
themselves.
everything. I'll tell you what they need. If you look beside the community health center where the storage lockers are, he had a lot of problems there. People sleeping in the storage lockers and stuff like that. And he put up these lights like you would not believe, and they haven't had a problem number one over there. That's what community health center needs, and probably is there any way that they get any money from the city to put lights up
Well, if
on
they-
that deal that you're passing out $10,000 here and $10,000 there?
Well, that's for facade grants, so so yeah, we would have to be approached by them. But I that's a separate organization, granted. So I mean, they would have to approach us.
Now, is that the city?
No, that's not the city.
No,
That's-
is it in the city?
Oh, is it in the city?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I believe it's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is,
Yes.
it's not the
Correct.
county?
Yeah, it's in the city.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, because I can't get no rocks in my hole out there at the park, and that's supposedly in the county. I don't know what happened, but they still ain't put any rocks in that
All right.
hole.
Well, that's a different subject now, so we'll go on.
Thought I'd get that in there.
Okay, so at the last meeting we talked about demolition of condemned structures, and so I posted a call for volunteers on social media to discuss the issue of which houses to demolish first. I was advised by Councilman Tim Heiss that the funds to be provided by Randolph County to do demolitions in Union City may have a limit, allowing us to use them only to tear down structures that are owned by the city. We confirmed that, right? Yeah. Okay. So the volunteers who showed up, that was Sunday before yesterday, they decided to recommend an order of priority only on the city-owned buildings, and then we can talk about the other ones at another time. So I just want to give a public thanks to Crystal Linder, Kathy Smith, Donna Wise, Deanna Schlechtig, and Bob Gentry, who showed up for deliberations and then toured the city-owned properties on the condemnation list. Our recommendations are posted on my Tito Farias Councilman page with pictures, and they are as follows. Number 1, priority for demolition please would be 605 West Pearl Street. Although it's not the worst one we saw, it poses an immediate danger to the property of a neighbor because it's just a few inches away. It's a big brick building, but the walls are crumbling. There's scaffolding holding up part of the wall facing the nearest neighbor's property. Part of the scaffolding is now just hanging, and high winds or a storm could bring more of it and the wall down. So that would be our priority. Second place would be 914 West Oak Street. Definitely in terrible condition, looks dangerous, features several gaping holes, allowing rainwater to come in and cause further deterioration. Wild animals coming and going at will. There's also a large garage in the backyard where the roof is literally caving in, gaping holes, etc. You can see through the whole building. It just needs torn down. And the property featured a random cat skeleton in the front yard that took a picture of the people. Anyway, number 3, there were only 3 properties on the that are owned by the city on that list. The committee did not recommend demolishing the 3rd city-owned property at 726 North Howard. Of course, we didn't see the inside, so we don't know. It is in bad shape, but not as bad as the others. from the outside anyway. In fact, we would not keep it on the priority list for demolition. It seems like a solid structure that someone might still be able to rehabilitate. And I know, does anybody want to comment on that? I know I got some feedback on that when I shared with, on 7026 North Howard.
I just reiterate that that I haven't been inside it, but I know people have, and the interior is jarring. Is that a good term, Steve? Jarring?
It's bad.
It's bad. But I do, especially with my experience in the building materials business, most of my life, and also using some data from recent projects, that you're looking at a six-figure project, probably pushing $200,000 to rehabilitate that house. So to really do it to where it's a marketable piece as opposed to just another, that house has been a liability in Union City for a couple of decades. We've been watching that, dealing with that house for literally a couple of decades. All my time in this position. And
yeah, I didn't go to that one because I knew it was terrible. We had looked at it a long time ago.
And
so if you recall, I didn't bother.
Yeah.
So while it would
I've been there.
it would be possible to rehab that house, I think it's not probable that anybody would have the ability to do that.
200,000-ish.
Because it's not it's far worse condition than the house that Ron Holt rehabilitated, and he has for sale for $200,000. That's a much more potential house. The lot's not as good a potential, but the house is better. So I think just
Where's that one?
It's on Howard.
It's on Howard Street, and I can't quote the note.
You're talking about Fred Huddle's house?
Yeah, Fred Huddle's old house, yeah. But I can't tell you the address. I should have that committed to memory, but I didn't.
Anything else?
Yes, so we've also come up with a preliminary list of criteria for the rest, but we didn't finish the work on it because we wanted more input and because we were not sure if the city had funds or the legal authority to demolish the other homes. So some of the criteria we're considering, and feel free to comment on these, the house is burnt out. The house is burned out, like why even try? Evidence of animal infestation, observable holes in the roof. Mind you, these would be homes that we are not legally allowed to enter because they're owned by somebody else. They're unsafe, obviously unsafe from the outside where pieces could fall off or fly off in case of high winds. And squatters or drug deals happening in the area. So those are some of the criteria that we're thinking of, to prioritize the rest of the homes. Do we know anything else from the county about those funds where it can be available?
The county is ready to disperse funding. We're working on a disposal process to pay for the disposal. All three of the city-owned properties can be demolished relatively quickly, and that would be the intent of the city, to get them down as soon as possible. But I believe we're waiting for a solid waste management meeting to finalize that proposal.
That will probably be November.
Yeah,
Yep.
so Mayor McCoy's, I think, on the agenda for that meeting.
Okay.
And once that happens, then I think we'll be ready to move.
Okay. Okay, good. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're in the
Oh, sorry.
We're in the process of taking bids on those.
Yeah, we are taking bids. I've got one bid back.
Got one bid on the three.
The bid that I have falls within the money that the county was talking about, so I would
Bid
anticipate.
for the demolition?
Demolition,
Okay.
yeah. But the disposal.
How much is it?
Well,
I'm not going to talk about it because I don't
Aha.
know what it is.
Yeah,
To
we
give the other
have-
competitors
yeah,
a
yeah.
chance to
we're
bid.
still in the bidding process, so there's not. I don't have anything.
No, no problem. Jason?
I do not.
Bob?
I do not.
Gary?
Nope.
All right. Steve, you don't have anything at the moment, do you?
Just talking about what's on the agenda.
Alrighty, that's what I figured. So first reading, ordinance number 2025-11, budget estimates. This is only on the first reading. This is per the public hearing that we just held. I would open it up to, and again, Mark, I'm so glad you're in the room today. Obviously, just it's nice to have you here. Period. But if anybody ever wonders why we don't have her here all the time, because as she should, she charges for her because this is part of her job, and so we, in trying to save money, we do not have her here unless we need legal representation for specific items. So, which we do tonight. But since you're here. When it talks about first reading, you mentioned previously before, there's terminology I think that gets interchanged between first reading and introduction of something. So basically, our first reading is the introduction of something,
Yep.
and it doesn't in any way, shape, or form ratify something when it's voted on, because that is done in the next reading or the formal.
Yeah, essentially all you're doing in a first reading is introducing it, and then it can be shipped off to committee or amended, or lots of things can happen with it before you do the second reading of the version you're going to adopt.
So in essence, the introduction is saying this is something we have decided to explore and deliberate, and we would like to do so further.
Exactly.
But yet nothing's etched in stone. So I say that because I know you posed questions tonight that Amy's going to be getting answers to, but any vote by council tonight on first reading doesn't ratify anything. But I'm just basically stating that for public knowledge more than anything. So with that being said, are there any questions or comments further on the ordinance? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move we accept ordinance 2025-11 budget estimates, first reading by title only.
We have a first, and we have a second.
I'll second.
Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Abstain.
And then we have here the introduction, first reading for proposed general obligation funds, or bonds, I should say. I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to say, or if you're just here for questions and guidance.
I am here for guidance.
Okay, perfect. Well enough. I actually had Kimberly with Barnes and Thornburg produce a summary of what this process entails, so that we could provide it to citizens as you deem desired to have in your hands, and also obviously the council. But this is not only a common practice, but it's also a bit of a token of the hard efforts that we've applied over the last few years, because we had a substantial increase. There were increases across the state for net assessed value, but we saw a substantial increase for our area. And a GO bond, which is a general obligation bond, gives us the opportunity to take advantage of that increased net assessed value that we have seen, that otherwise, if I understood Kimberly correctly, that's an important preface, would be dispersed among other taxing entities if we did not take advantage through this bond process. Do you know, am I in the ballpark on that understanding?
That sounds accurate.
Okay,
Can
because
you repeat that so that we can try to conceptualize? I mean,
yeah.
In other words, you have some room to spend without raising taxes because of your increased net assessed value.
Our assessed value is increased substantially. So it created an increase in revenue potential that we could utilize through a bond, if we did a bond process, it has to be capital expenditures. It has to be, because I even asked, could we put it back for a rainy day? No, it has to be specific in what it's utilized for. So where my mind went immediately, and Steve as well, was, okay, we've got projects we're trying to execute and to best serve the community. And those are finishing the playground, getting it started and finished, the phase one completely at the park, the proposed trail resurfacing at the park, and then sidewalks. And the sidewalk initiative, my proposal, we don't have to have this carved out in stone tonight in terms of the details, but my sidewalk proposal would be like a matching grant pursuit, because we actually I don't know if everybody's aware, we actually have a group at the high school that has started, a Workforce Wednesday group, that has started a sidewalk initiative because they would like to see better walks in town, which I love. I think that's awesome because they're engaged. So I had a student send me an email about what they were doing. I was like, oh, this timing's perfect. So I sent an email back to her. I haven't heard back from her yet in my response to her because I think it was more than she was willing to digest at the moment. But my proposal was that if we do a matching fund, the critical thing of this proposed endeavor, would be communication. So everybody knows about it. Because one thing we run into a lot is like, well, I didn't know about it. Even though we had a billboard at the edge of town and we put it in the water bill and we've done everything, people always say, I didn't know about it. It's like, so my thought is we go door to door with this group and we would have everything written out in terms of this is what the program is, this is what its goals, these are the parameters. And we do a match. And we do what basically Ready has done, what Patronicity has done, what all these other entities across the region have done. And that is when they have money to go out, Lily does this too. Lily was even part of Ready. They know they can stretch their dollar further if they ask for you to get on board and commit as well. So instead of saying, we're going to give $100,000 for sidewalk replacement, the first ones that come to the table get it, and then spent, and we get 12 walks done. Well, I was spitting in the ocean. But if we say we'll offer a matching grant to you, citizen, based on your level of need, because what we want ultimately is if you can replace your sidewalk, replace your sidewalk. Do what's right. And if you can't, and we understand that because there's some people that can't, then we've got an avenue to help you. And this will be in conjunction with us still tearing it out ourselves. So it really would be an advantageous route to make a significant impact on the sidewalk conditions in this community and truly create a more walkable community that people desire. But again, that's just one component of this. But getting back to the whole gist is that we have an opportunity to capitalize on the benefits that we've received through our efforts while the getting is good, because with what we don't know coming down the pike in the next 2 years, we don't know what access we will have to these net assessed values. Because if it goes possibly as it could go, we would not, our budget, I've even heard our budget would be reviewed and under the discretion of the county.
County council.
Yeah, because we're not over 3,500 people by a smidge. We need like 40 people more. So we might be doing some recruiting over the next year too.
So the fact that we have a higher assessed value means that we can borrow more money?
We have more revenue coming our way. We have more access to more revenue.
Aha. And
this is borrowing money.
Okay.
This is a bond against what our increased value is.
I thought I knew what a bond was, but since it's not borrowing money, now I don't.
Well, you're borrowing. It's almost like a CD. Is it? Would it not? Would that be a proper analogy? I don't know.
I mean, it truly is a bond. Like
Yeah.
The bond purchaser.
Yeah, it's
bonds.
Yeah, it's like you're essentially borrowing money.
Yeah,
It's just
you're
a,
You are, but it's against
it's
against
the
what you
form of how the
have.
borrowing is done.
Yeah,
I
we're
guess.
gonna pay $46,000 in interest on it over a 3 or 4 year period, but we still have the lump sum
Right.
to begin with.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about.
And we have no.
I'm very much in favor of that part.
Yeah. That would be a facelift and a half, because it would be our match. And keep in mind too, there's a low hanging fruit here, because us going this route, the county has committed an additional they've given 10,000 Playground Paradise. They've committed an additional 40,000 if we come up with 80,000.
And this is our opportunity to do that?
Yeah.
Ah.
So
The other thing I want you guys to keep in mind with this, DNR, there's no grants coming out of DNR for the next 2 years at a minimum. So
What's DNR, please?
the Department of Natural
Department of
Resources.
Natural Resources. So
And
the
they usually do
likelihood
part
of
funding.
Does that mean
securing
our grant is,
we still have an opportunity for what we just applied for, but in 26 they're keeping all their funding to improve state parks for the next 2 years. So we know this going forward, so this is an opportunity for us to do good things for our park and get us through the next 2 years till there's additional funding coming from the state.
Is this looked at as a one, basically a one-time opportunity? It's a singular opportunity, not something you're gonna perpetuate?
Correct.
Okay.
Because
And it
I
only
don't
needs
think-
introduced tonight, but the whole thing has to be wrapped up before the calendar year ends.
Yeah.
We're on a
Yeah.
tight timeline.
Yeah, I say the timeline's tight on it, because it has to all be done by the end of the year. So,
What does that mean, all, what all needs to be
the,
done?
The bonds have to be sold and we have
the
to
bonds
close
have-
them.
yeah.
All the
That's a whole-
paperwork has to be
paperwork.
processed.
But that's been sold, that's a whole process.
We don't have to spend money in that time, obviously, we don't, but.
But we have to get the money in that.
We have to get that.
Yes,
So we need to.
yeah, it has to be in your account, yep.
Can I add one more thing? When we were having this discussion, because I didn't know what a geo bond was.
Yeah, I did.
But when they were explaining it to us, when bond counsel was on the phone and Baker Tilly and, everyone was on the phone discussing this, it's not an added cost to the residents.
No.
But if we don't do this, the county pretty much retains it and they will divvy it out to everybody in the county. And Union City residents will only get a small portion of what they really should receive.
Which reminded me of a TIF. Because that's kind of like a TIF. I mean, if you think of like our industrial TIF, that money goes back into the industrial park, or the housing TIF, that money goes back into the housing development, it stays there versus going to the county and the schools. And so it's basically a way to retain
Retain it.
those funds, control those funds. So yeah, you're right, that's a good call out, Amy. And it does not change the tax rate, does not raise the tax rate, does not, it doesn't affect anybody in this community one iota to the negative, aside from opportunity lost. If we don't do it, then, yeah, it would affect them that way, in ways that most people wouldn't even realize, unfortunately.
And I will say at your next meeting where you're set to adopt, the representatives from Baker Tilly are planning to attend. So a lot of these financial questions would be best posed to them, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer.
Yes, yes.
To me, it also kind of falls into a home rule category too, and the fact that if it's dispersed to the county, then we've lost control over even what portion we get. We really don't have any control over it.
Right.
But if we retain it, then we have some control.
Yeah, where it goes, and that's spent, so.
And that's because this would get us the matching funds for that.
Yes.
And it's also addressing projects that we're already talking about.
Yeah,
doing,
exactly.
not-
Yeah.
Not making up projects.
Yeah, exactly. And it has to be used for these
Just to
projects.
spend
What
money.
you state it's gonna be used for, that's what it's gotta be used for.
Yeah.
But I want to understand one thing, the what do you call it, the trail around the park.
Mhm.
That's a different thing, that doesn't have anything to do with this.
That is a possibility for this as well, because it would be matching. If we get the grant from DNR, the matching funds could come from this. So there's three entities that this 460,000, because it's a 500-some thousand, but our administrative costs and everything's being taken out of that. So we're not paying extra for administrative costs and so forth. So our actual funds that we have in hand would be, I think, 450 or 460 is what we would actually have to spend. And so the idea is phase one playground, get that done, get that complete, take advantage of the matching dollars available, sidewalk initiative through town, and then match dollars toward the DNR grant. Because again, if they give us a $250,000 grant, I would hate to turn our nose up at that to get the surface widened and resurfaced.
So priority is the playgrounds and our sidewalks. That sounds good. That sounds like what people have been telling me. Reach out to me on Facebook, complain if you want to. But I just, like, this is what we've been hearing for the last, I don't know, 6 years.
You're right, Mayor, 450 net
450,
proceeds
okay.
for projects.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, because everything, the additional funds go toward the process. Kind of like when you do a mortgage and there's a few other hands in the cookie jar. So, with that being said, if there's no other questions or comments, I would entertain a motion on the introduction.
I move that we accept the introduction for the first reading of the proposed general obligation law and ordinance 2025-12.
We have a first, and we have a second.
I'll second.
Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
And then, first reading, ordinance number 2025-10. This is the Title VI implementation plan, and this is one of those pretty much procedural matters. Let me pull it up.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah, equal opportunity established in 1964, and basically it's stating ours was updated, which is something we have to do from time to time. I don't know if that's yearly.
It's an annual update.
Okay, it is,
You have to
it is
submit
yearly,
to
okay.
NDOT.
So that's all it is. It's basically, it's conforming to what the expectations are from a national level. So, once again, barring questions, I would entertain a motion. It's, the entire thing's in there, all 25 pages, but I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve ordinance number 2025-10, Title VI implementation plan, first reading.
We have a first, and we have a second.
I'll second.
Amy, if you would, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
And then resolution number 2025-05, which is the ADA transition plans. And this also in your packet naturally, and this is the ADA transition plan as presented by K.I.S.S Consulting. Basically, once again, for a very important segment of our population, Americans with Disabilities Act. This is referenced at 1990. And this is once again an update of the plan to make sure that we are conforming to ADA requirements.
I have a question on that, and because part of it is the access ramps for sidewalks and the sidewalks themselves, I think. So it ties in a little bit with what we talked about just before. But do we have a way of consulting the governed, so to speak, to ensure that we're prioritizing the items that are truly needed by our current residents who have disabilities? See, this is my concern, because we can put ramps all over town, but if they're not reusing them, right? If someone just a couple of years ago, we were talking about, I don't remember what we were talking about, but someone was saying, well, dang, why don't you people focus on the sidewalk on Division Street between, I don't know, I think they were saying Plum Street and Columbia for the library, because those are beat up sidewalks. And so is there a way to consult our citizens who actually have disabilities and who need to have the ramps, so we can put ramps where it's most beneficial to them?
I see that as an opportunity. If we establish this thing where we are going door to door, because I would like to get feedback from our ordinance officer on this too, to make sure he has feedback in with the students and this body and whoever else we deem pertinent to the process. And that's an opportunity to identify some of these folks in the community. Because that might present itself an opportunity. Maybe there's I say maybe, hopefully, there's a funding avenue that we would uncover out there too, that, hey, we're taking the sidewalk initiative on, and we've identified 8 citizens that could benefit from not only a new sidewalk in front, but because of their situation, ramp and or, of course, I know what we just received, the homeowner occupied rehab, that used to cover ramps, didn't it?
No longer does.
No longer does. See, that's unfortunate. But again, anyway, long story short, I think there's an opportunity there. That needs to be front and center as we evolve this sidewalk initiative.
And we've covered most of that, and what we've done has been in our community crossings, whenever we're doing a community crossings project,
do the
we're
corners.
required to do the corners.
You're exactly right. Yep.
One of the things, and this may be
That's a great point.
Stray slightly on this, but one thought crossed my mind about the surveying door to door that we probably need to have a plan for is that we're going to have a lot of properties that are not owner occupied.
Yes. Yep.
And So we probably need to make sure that they have an approach to when someone says, well, I just rent, and then we probably need to figure out how we're going to approach that in terms of how we're gonna contact.
Yeah.
Maybe we take those and look at those as a list of how to, that we need to make specific contacts to the owners
It's a great idea.
to give them what opportunities there are to make the improvements, because the property owners are gonna be eligible for at least parts of our program.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But,
That's a
I'd
great
like-
point.
I'd like to concentrate heavier on owner occupied, but
Yeah,
there are things we can still do, especially with the removal, so.
Yeah. for sure.
You guys need to revisit that conversation. I sent you all 6 or 7, 8 communities sidewalk ordinances several months ago. You guys, there's been no discussion. If we're going to start building this thing out, we really need a sidewalk ordinance that governs what they're putting back in as this thing evolves.
Yeah, I think that's,
If a property owner, because the sidewalk belongs to the property owner, if they replace the sidewalk, they don't have to put an ADA ramp there on the corner. We have to put an ADA ramp on the corner because we're receiving federal dollars through the state of Indiana to do road work. That's why the ADA ramps are there. So if you want ADA ramps on the corner, you gotta write that into an ordinance.
Yeah, good call out. All right. Did that, I apologize, did that approve?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
where are we at?
We're waiting for a motion.
Okay,
to
sorry.
Approve the resolution.
move we approve resolution 2025-05 ADA transition plans.
We have a first, and we have a second.
I'll second.
Amy, once again, I apologize, roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy,
Yes.
Jason Brewer,
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Freeze.
Yes.
The next item is the fire department request for approval of radio software updates. This is quote 62966. Submitted by Eric Hyatt, and I think you guys have discussed this previously.
Yeah.
And so, what this is requiring, it's, as Amy notes here, it's requiring us expenditure of funds, obviously. It's a must, though, with the radios, that they must have to conform to state requirements.
I did not, I missed the print button on that.
Do you want to see mine?
No, I know what, I'm familiar with it, I just can't
Okay.
quote it.
Were we doing the additional appropriation tonight for that? Or is that, we're going to do that at the end
No,
of the year?
that has to be done,
At the end of the year?
well, yeah, because you can't do an additional appropriation without a special.
Yeah,
Right, so
public hearing.
the money's
Special
in the
meetings,
CDC
yeah.
fund for fire equipment. We just don't have enough appropriated, so that's really what this conversation is you guys are going to have to do an additional appropriation to move the money.
The CDC. Okay.
So they're really not voting on anything then tonight,
No,
correct?
There should be nothing to vote on. It's
Yeah.
just- And the work, because it was approved at the last meeting, it's being done. Actually, they were here today to start on it, so the work's being done, but at some point, you're going to have to approve an additional appropriation to increase what was appropriated for 25.
Was the approval done here or just at Board of Works?
I think it was done here at the last council meeting.
Don't,
I think it was here.
Was it here?
In our minutes.
Be in the minutes.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda for the last council meeting. Let's see, I don't have the minutes. I didn't think we got review of that, recall seeing that. I think we did it at Board of Works, but I don't think we did it.
Yeah, it was a report.
What did we do?
It was a report from Steve. It says here under the council minutes, Common Council, the City of Union City, Indiana, September 22nd. Steve Shoemaker regarding the radio programming update and installation for the fire department. We'll put a copy of the quote in the packet for the next council meeting.
Oh,
It needs to be installed by December 31st, and the estimate is $25,000. So, not a formal vote.
we need a, okay, so we need a motion for that. What was that amount on that 25?
Let me pull that back down. Name this package.
We didn't vote on that before?
25,451.
So phrase the motion as a conditional, because I think
We haven't done the appropriation yet.
oh, we haven't done the appropriation?
Well, we always do the appropriations at the end.
Yeah,
Oh.
appropriate, the additional
So we wouldn't
appropriation
have,
would be at
we
the end
wouldn't
of
have
the year.
already.
Yeah. So we just need a motion to approve the
Correct.
payment of $25,451 to J&K radio software, and actually software and firmware updates.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
I'll second.
Amy, if you would once again roll call vote.
Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer,
Yes.
Tim Heiss.
Yes.
Tito Frias.
Yes.
The next item is.
And just to-
Oh, sorry.
Can I ask one quick,
Yes.
which fund are we pulling that out of then?
I think it's a CDC fund. I can look at the appropriation report and tell you.
Okay,
CCD, maybe. I don't know, they all run together.
okay.
I thought it was CDC.
I don't know.
And I just wanted to underline for the public that this is required software updates if we want our, I think, fire departments, and correct me if I'm wrong, so our fire department can communicate with other fire departments in the area.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And then the next item is the facade grant application for Scott Reagan, 225 North Union Street. And if you guys haven't noticed yet, it's already virtually done. It looks really nice. Emirates are doing a phenomenal job. That is for the painting all exterior and installing a 12 by 10 garage door on the alley side. And project estimate was $17,105. The amount originally requested was $85.50, but Bob, you've had an update to that, correct?
Right, he had Emmerich do an additional $850 worth of work, which put the total to $17,955.
Which the amount requested then would be
$89.77
$89.77
and 50 cents change.
and 50 cents. 89.77.50. Okay.
And we have that available in the
And the facade grants.
facade grants.
Yes.
Do we have any questions or comments? And if not, I would entertain a motion.
Are we moving to just accept the application, or does he still have to get receipts turned? He has the invoices here. Yes, that
These
changed.
were estimates, yeah. So I mean, it would still follow the regular
Okay. So we know
procedure. I
where
mean,
that-
as soon
okay.
as you
I
have
just want to know where
the
we're-
check copies and things, we could proceed with it.
I move that we grant a facade grant to Scott Reagan in the amount of $8,977.50.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
Amy, same second verse.
Yes.
Gary Elliott?
Yes.
Bob Leahy?
Yes.
Jason Brewer?
Yes.
Tim Heiss?
Yes.
Tito Frias?
Yes.
And then lastly, we have a facade grant application for state line clothing.
So, just for clarification, that's the paperwork she filled out. The last time we were talking about a sign, you guys wanted that taken out of the edit. So I'm going to preempt this conversation. The last one we did out of edit, not out of facade grant. So you guys decide how you want to do it, if you're going to do it.
For signage?
When was the last one?
It was in the spring for the industrial park. They filled out a facade grant application. You guys felt it was more of an edit project for economic development than it was a facade grant.
Which I get that. I could see
Because it's a sign?
it's not really doing
I don't
anything.
care which one you do. She asked for an application, I emailed it to her, and she had to sign up again before anything was presented to council, so.
Also, a sign is like sort of the business name.
Yeah, I would say that I could see where that would, industrial park would be from it, but I would think that this one would be a facade grant because it falls under a business improving their,
Inside
in the outside of the building.
That's true, yeah.
I'm good either way, whatever, yes.
Well, it's council's say.
That was broken before. Was it broken?
Facade grant?
No, the actual sign that they
Yeah,
had
I know.
before.
Yeah, they just replaced it not long ago. Do the facade grant?
I'm fine either way.
I mean, we're looking at what, $632?
I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. We're gonna do the same match either way, so.
The amount is $632.
Yeah.
The grant amount
The
is
city's
$632.50.
Oh.
So I move that we go ahead and approve the state line clothing facade grant application for $632.50.
We have, bless you, we have a facade grant approval, motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim. Amy, one last time?
Gary Elliott?
Yes.
Bob Leahy?
Yes.
Jason Burr?
Yes.
Tim Weiss?
Yes.
Peter Frias?
Yes.
Do we have any visitors wishing to address the board? If so, please stand, state your name, address, and nature of business.
I have questions.
Okay, Bob?
Bob Gentry, 521 North Plum Street. Forgive me for not standing up. Hub City Finance, what's the city plan to do with that building? It's been several years now, and several people have asked me thinking that I don't know, because we've spent quite a bit of money on it.
Well, it's the grant money that we spent on it. And
is it?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's rural development. In fact, we still have $3,000 in it, sitting in that rural development grant that we've not spent on because it's not enough to do a new roof.
Is that what we're giving $30,000 to rural development? I saw that on accounts payable.
$30,000.
To rural
A
development.
$30,000 payment to rural development.
That was probably the city.
USDA rural development.
That's probably the
On
city's
this
budget.
one? Yeah, that might be a sewage payment.
Anyway, my question is, what's gonna happen?
Great question, because we've talked about, we had a couple possibilities with HVAC, electric and plumbing,
Yeah.
extended training. We don't have a foothold in that yet.
It costs a fortune to take that safe out of
Yeah, well, safe staying.
it. That's
So,
good.
yeah, the safe, because that safe is probably worth more than the building.
Well,
Is only,
yeah.
if I've been told correctly, there's only 4 of those in the world
Oh, wow.
of that kind of safe.
Let's sell it.
Yeah, I really seriously would love to have it if anybody, and this goes out to everybody watching too, if anybody knows anybody can evaluate safes, I would love to have it appraised.
Sell the
Yeah.
safe and throw the building in with it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well,
Not too transportable, is it?
so, no, I've asked, we haven't had that up we haven't listed it yet. We actually listed it for, we did RFP. My acronyms are all screwed up.
Request for proposals.
Yeah, thank you. We did that, and we only had one come back. So it has been posted publicly, and unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of people jump in line. We didn't, all but one jump in line to do anything. So it's a great question. I mean, we've had it 2.5 years now, or 3 years. We've had 3 years, and so
Yeah,
we've
it's
done
kind of
things.
an eyesore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure people were thinking and talking about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Other question, noted several $100s of gas and electric bills have been paid on 215 North Columbia. I want to know why the city is still using tax.
Bob, how many times are we gonna go through this? We have to pay it in their line item because we own the building, and then we bill, ask Amy,
we
Amy,
have
let's
to
go back
pay
a
it.
ways. We have to bill them for the
Right.
utilities.
But when are you gonna quit billing them and put somebody in there that'll actually pay their bills?
They're, are they paying their utilities?
I mean, the original ones are still somewhat in the rear, but, I mean, they have been making the most recent, because I bill them every month for the gas and electric, they're on the same invoice. And they have been making those payments with their lease payment, and that has been pretty consistent. So like I said, there were some of the bills from the very beginning that are still open, but they have been making an effort.
$40,000 worth of supplies that we were told would be paid back several years ago. That was discussed at council, for opening. It was a grand open, this goes back 2 or 3 years. But we put a lot of tax money in there. Okay, I wanted to get people thinking about that, because we're talking about tax dollars here. I wanted to comment on Vision Corner. Chad's office is over there now, and I think that's a really nice office. I'm glad that you're utilizing it. Is the city paying rent to Vision Corner for that office?
They have not been.
I recommend that the city pay for that. If that was originally set up as a nonprofit to operate K.I.S.S TV. And at some point, they're gonna have to be self-sufficient. I understand that the city owns a building and they're still paying utilities because they have to. I mean, you made that clear, I understand it. But nevertheless, you know, I've been fighting for K.I.S.S TV for several years, and I'm gonna keep on doing it. So you guys think about that. We've got our mayor over there, that's a nice office, I'm not saying he shouldn't be there, because frankly, I think it's a good idea. But we ought to pay them rent, just like the other people that are over there using their space.
They pay rent, yeah. Yeah, Baker's Life and the school.
Enough said. I just want to bring that forward. I noticed that we paid $30,000 to USDA Rural Development. I'm curious as what bond, that's interest on a bond, or what is that?
I gotta see what that's at.
So, now which payment are you looking at? That may be for the sewage department, for the wastewater plant.
I think that's what that is, if I remember.
9/29/2025, USDA Rural Development, sewage bond, interest disbursements. Is that part of our
Wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that in my own mind.
Good question.
Now, I offered some time back to pay for the blasted cameras for back here on the UCBC Museum, because it's been vandalized, and that's just a criminal thing. And I happened to see Lance Monk and asked him about it. And I said, I said publicly that I'd buy a couple cameras, and I had an opportunity to get them at a good price. so I was asking, and he said, no, we've got a system that works really well, that we're working with the school. And Chad, I guess I'm asking you, would you check with the police department, because it looks to me like there's no cameras back
I
there.
will do, absolutely.
And the windows are still broken in that museum building, and that's just crap.
I agree.
And like I say, I'm still willing to do it. Lance said, no, you don't have to, we're working on it.
But if they don't have cameras there, then it's.
There's no cameras there, so they're not working fast enough to suit me.
Right.
And I'm sure that a lot of people share that.
I'll get up.
I've used up my 3 minutes and then some.
I'll get up and get those windows taken care of that are broken.
Oh, man.
Dave hasn't asked me about doing it in a while.
Oh, that's awesome.
Get that taken
I
care of.
appreciate you, Tim. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else wishing to address? Yes?
My name is Crystal Linder, and I live at 729 West Hickory Street. And I just want to put it out there that I had been friends with Phil and Janelle Smiley, who own that home that you guys now own down on, Pearl Street that's gonna be demolished.
Oh, okay.
Is it 914? And, I'm interested in buying the woodwork out of that house.
Okay.
So whenever a contractor is selected, please let me know. And Tito has my phone number because I told him when I went to that meeting that I was interested in that. And then I was also wondering if that list of demolition buildings had been updated. Because remember the one at 606 had supposedly been had been listed to be demolished for like how many years?
Yeah, probably.
And it wasn't on the list. So has that list been updated?
606
to-
North Union someone brought that up, and there were just a couple of us did go to see it, and there was differing opinions. Two of us thought that it looked really solid. We didn't go inside, but it looked very clean. It looked okay. It looked very inhabitable or refurbishable. A couple of us would not recommend that we knock it down. There was a person who was wanting to knock it down. Parenthesis, she's a next door neighbor. I get it, but
Right, and she also said there's a lot of nefarious activity there, you know, a lot of people in and out of there, that the doors aren't locked.
okay, so
I mean, is there any
I'll
way
follow
you get a
up.
hold of the homeowners and have them make sure to secure the building if they're not gonna be there? you
And
know?
that's 606 Union.
North Union, yes.
That's all I had.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, John Russ, 120 Pleasant Drive. Somebody asked me about, when you went out to the ethanol plant the last time, you was supposed to have a meeting with them or whatever. Did you do the citizens of Union City any good as far as chipping in any more money? It's not funny because then water bills keep going.
I pay the same water bill as you do.
I understand that, but did you do any good out there?
They pay a higher rate now. They didn't give an upfront amount like we were hoping they would. We can't force them to do that, could not force them to do that. We asked them to do that, but they are paying a higher rate. So they are paying the overwhelming majority of the project through their rate that they'll be paying over the next several years, but
They pay a surcharge that will ultimately accumulate to be, and I would have preferred to have the upfront payment to full transparency, but their surcharge is excessive compared to what they would have paid if they'd done what we would have asked.
Right.
Is that a fair assessment?
yeah, no, it's accurate.
So
It's accurate.
unfortunately, it doesn't do you any good on your rate. It probably ultimately
Now, but in
does
the long
good
run.
for our for the future.
Yeah.
It's actually a good thing for the future, but right now it doesn't. Yeah.
Might have to sell that really fancy truck you got sitting in your garage.
It's for sale.
Oh, is it really for sale?
Yeah, I'll sell it for the right money. And I know K.I.S.S has got it, so. I got another question. We was talking about them solar panels last meeting or whatever. Did you ever find out how much did it cost us for the solar panels?
I don't know.
That's a hard question
Just to
because
say,
that's
yeah.
not.
We didn't
it's not
buy them and
single.
not know what we paid for them, did we?
Well, no, we know the
Well,
figure, but
it's-
I don't know. I don't walk around with the figure in my head.
The thing is, it's within a larger project that had all kinds of other costs as well.
Yeah,
so
it's broken down though, so we can share that with you.
Okay, at the next meeting or whatever.
Yeah. Solar panels.
Great. And on the water hauling, Amy, did you tell me that Brad Minks over that?
Brad was in communication with them, and he
Is that
kept
how
track
they
of-
do that whenever the truck pulls up? They call somebody or do they just do it on their own?
That I couldn't tell you exactly how it happened,
I
whether he
need to
was
know
there
that.
every time or not.
Somebody needs to monitor that because they might be getting more water than they're supposed to be getting.
Well, they still need the documentation of their loads though to get paid by the state.
Yeah, but,
So they're gonna, they get water from us
right,
and they're gonna pay us for the water, but they have a lot of trucking expense in that. If they can't document that they made that load of water by showing, if they tell the state we got 97 loads, but they only have billing for 92, the state's gonna say, oh no, wait a minute, you're short on loads, so we're not gonna pay you for those loads. So now they're out the driver, the fuel, the truck expense. So it's in their best interest to make
well,
sure
how
they
about if
document
it's the
every
other way around, where it's over what we're seeing? As far as, say they go down there and get water and don't tell us, and we ain't got it documented.
But-
Nobody monitors that at
But
all.
that's what I'm saying, if they were to pick up loads and not document those loads, then they would have a problem getting paid for those loads ultimately in their deal with the state on the rebuilding that road, because they watch that stuff pretty closely. The state's pretty tight on what they do, so it's not in their best interest to try to cheat us out of a few loads of water.
Well, I'm glad. On the Christmas deal, did you get any volunteers?
I waited. I burned some wood and marshmallows. I said, John Russ is coming out this evening. I know he is. Never saw you. Saturday night, Sunday night, John's not here.
Well, I got,
I you know I'm teasing.
we're going further. I got a problem at home that I got to take care of before I worry about Christmas. My wife's got cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry, John.
But
You know
I'm
I was
just telling
teaching you
you.
right. You know I was teaching
I
you.
know that.
Okay.
I'm just telling you though that my time is more or less doing dishes
Oh.
and mowing the yard.
What's your
Not
wife's
in the
name?
winter time, but,
John, what's your wife's name?
Teresa,
Am I okay to pray for her? Can I pray for her?
whatever you want to do.
Thank you for taking care of her.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Amen.
That's all.
Been there, done that, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep on keeping on.
Amen. Well, thank you for doing that, though. Seriously.
No problem.
Yeah, but to answer your question, sorry to mean to be snide, but we've been very blessed. We've had some folks show up, and it's been good because some of the folks showed up. They've had interesting walks in life, and this has been therapeutic for them, which often we find at the park because we have a beautiful park, and we've been blessed with amazing weather. So.
I'm trying to get out there if I can, but like
No,
I
brother,
said,
you're good. You take care of your wife first. And,
Well,
so
I understand.
that's awesome.
I just want
Yes.
to make a correction on something I mentioned earlier when I had the question about our police being outside of town.
Mhm.
I misspoke when I said they were north of town on the state line. They are south of town
Okay.
on state line. I was corrected.
Okay. Thank you. Then I'll get with Mark on that. So I've got that written down. So our next council meeting is October 27th. Holy smokes. That'll be 2 days after Halloween for this community, by the way. Everybody, Halloween's October 25th in the city. Board of Works meeting October 27th also at 1:45, and the next economic redevelopment meeting pending agenda will be this Wednesday, October 15th at 6 p.m. I would hereby entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
We have first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.